distinguished guests. I'm not seeing any guests.
I
No?
don't think
Yeah.
there are today.
Right
We
there,
have one?
right
Oh,
there,
good.
right here.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Me.
hi, Bammy. Today I want to introduce to you lost technology, or at least the idea of lost technology. What do you think of when you hear the term technology? Well, I think of computers, cars, smartphones, toys, gadgets. And actually, think about astrophysics. And where did all that technology come from? Well, from studying the stars and learning where our planet came from, what's in the stars, what's on our planet. Where do you think all this started from? Is it Galileo Galilei? He started recording the stars and calculating out and predicting where the stars were going to be. Well, tell you what, you're thinking, I was earlier talking about computers and stuff. Did they have computers back then? No, not really. Well, you'll be surprised. We actually had it much earlier than that. You ever heard of the Antikythera mechanism? Dates back 205 BC. They actually found that under the sea. It was made of wood and bronze, and they believe that this actually properly calculated out all the planets in our solar system. And we've had multiple engineers study the device, and they believe this is what it looked like. And it actually showed each planet spinning around the sun. It's crazy. It was out there. We had no idea. How far would Galileo Galilei been had he had this information? Where did that technology go? Well, Charlie, you're talking about way back when. We were a Stone Age back then. What about now? What about technology now? Well, what about Stradivari violin? That was the 17th century. Yeah, we have violins now, but nobody can reproduce the technology and the sound that comes out of these violins or these instruments. You know, we've had engineers studying the wood, composites, the fungi that was actually in the material. Nobody to this day knows how those instruments were built. Well, again, Charlie, you're talking way back then. You know, what about now? How about the space program? You know, well, we haven't lost that data, but we're in fear of losing it because this stuff's becoming out of date. It's obsolete. You know, can you play those data tapes back? Well, yeah, if you transfer that data to other data. You know, and we've done that. We went from large floppy disks to the smaller floppy disks, and even smaller CDs, and even these flash drives. Well, what's next? Crystal technology. You can fit terabytes of data on that crystal. Well, what happens if we go in war and we're blown away to nothing again? Ankh and Uk are out hunting around, they look in the sand and see this little piece of crystal. How are they gonna know? Plug that thing in and they could perform heart surgery or travel and build homes. Who's gonna do that? You know? Well, I'm thinking that this has happened to us before. Because our technology now, our strongest ships, tallest buildings, they're just gonna wither away to nothing because nobody's there to take care of them. Well, Charlie, we build great things. We build stones and, you know, you guys familiar with this? This is the levitating stone of LACMA Museum. It's an art museum, and I forget the gentleman's name. This is a 30-ton boulder that they moved over 16 miles. And it took 10 days to put that into place. Well, Charlie, we do great things like this. It took forever. Well, I'm telling you what, they did even greater things back then. Oh, sorry, so this is what it took to move that block. Crane work, you know, hundreds of men, 10 days to move this block. Well, what about the Great Pyramid? Dated back 2000 BC. You know, there was 2.3 million stones of block weighing 2.5 to 15 tons each. Over a 20-year period, it estimates in order to move that many stones, it took them every 2.5 minutes to lay each stone. So this is how large it was compared to all of our buildings from the 17th century on. What happened then? Where'd that technology go, moving all those blocks? Well, how far away did they get those blocks? Well, it's a 10-hour drive. Well, they didn't have cars back then. every 2.5 minutes, they were moving stones from that quarry up to Cairo. Where did that technology go? Let alone the obelisks. That's a 30-ton obelisk. Set that upright. That's solid stone. Who cut that? Here's one that was unfinished because it was cracked. They had to let it go because it was imperfect. If you look, do you see brass hammers and chisels hammering that out? No, it's like they just carved it out. Who carved that out? Now, I'm not talking aliens. I'm saying we did this, but where'd the technology go? These huge statues, solid granite, the hardest in the world. You're saying cavemen did this? I don't believe it. Look at this precision stone cut boreholes. Who was doing that back then? How about these precision cuts? You know, we have engineers that go down there and take a look at these cuts. And this is what they're seeing. They're not making that with brass hammers, chisels. There's lost technology here. You know, we're a species of amnesia species. Well, where else are there great stones throughout the world? Well, one of my favorite places that I actually want to go to is Easter Island. Monolithic heads. Who built these? There's no trees to roll them down the hill and set them up into place. They didn't have the numbers that they had in Egypt. So who were building these? These things are huge. They're not just the heads, they're the full bodies. They start unearthing these things, and they got carvings all the way down, showing hands. Well, what happens if you connect two dots? Well, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? Well, what happens if we do that? So here's Easter Island here, and it comes across South America and over to Egypt. And each one of these points is a site that has monolithic monuments just like that. And here's one right here, Machu Picchu, up on the mountains. You're telling me that they hauled these out of quarries with just men, rope, and sticks? There's no way. We lost technology somehow. You can't get a piece of paper between these blocks. And look at this. They're saying that the Mayans built these. Well, why did they just build around the rubble and leave all this precision stonework behind? That's because they didn't build it. You can see the technology that they built with the easy stuff that they could do. They had no idea what this was. So all over the world, you see these monolithic figures. Where did that technology go? Just recently, they found Göbekli Tepe, Turkey. Now you can't carbon date stone, but you can carbon date the material around it. Waste pits, sacrificial sites. And they date this back to 10,500 BC. Well, I thought we were just wandering around in the woods, hunting, gathering. No, we were worshiping the stars in the heavens. These are monolithic sites that predates all known history of when the pyramids of Giza, 2000, they're thinking they're much older than that. So if you see some of these markings, we start seeing these markings all over the world. So like these purses here. And if you go over, also, so Göbekli Tepe, they have these H's. Well, these are found in Pumapuca, Bolivia. And again, these purses, well, there was a traveler that they recorded that said that came from the Great Floods. The genie of Nimrud came out of the ocean and gave divine knowledge to the people so they could survive. Well, this wasn't the only markings of this person. They also thought he came from the sky. So they gave him wings, and there's that purse again. Where did this knowledge go? What was he giving out for us to survive? One more. And then in Egypt again, there's that purse, that knowledge. And that acorn, I don't know if some of you caught that in the other, he's also handing out an acorn, which I'll have to save for another speech here, but there's more knowledge on that acorn also. Well, you guys know about the Baghdad battery, right? There's no way we had electricity back then. We're unearthing batteries from way back when. You know, saying 300 BC. It's crazy. Where did this technology go? Did we lose it because of global cataclysm? Or was it just human behavior? You know, like modern day ISIS. Right now they're going around blowing these sites up because they don't want you to know the truth. They want you dumb. They want you to be followers. They don't want you to be knowledgeable. So I ask you, where did that knowledge go?